Okay. Did you get upstairs taken care of?
I did, Judge. Thank you.
All right, let me grab a pen. Take this plea. All right, you are Corey Walker?
Correct.
All right, Mr. Walker, if you will please raise your right hand for me. You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Correct.
All right, you take your hand down. State your full name for me.
Corey Jermaine Walker.
Mr. Walker, you're here on 22 SR 2134. According to my calendar, you are on time for court this morning. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Did you hear the rights I read out to the courtroom, and did you see the PowerPoint that I put up on the wall?
Yep.
Did you understand those rights?
Yes, sir.
Any questions I can answer for you, Mr. Walker, about those rights?
No more questions.
Okay, and to ask that a different way, I'm holding up this attorney defendant rights waiver that your attorneys passed up to me, and this is the written version of those rights. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir. Yes.
All right, and are these your initials next to each of the lines on page 1?
Yes, sir.
Page 2?
Yep.
Is this your signature?
Yes, sir.
Did you sign and initial this document after having all the time you needed to review it
Yes, sir.
and to ask your attorney any questions you have about it,
Yes, sir.
and because you understood everything that's on it?
Yep.
Any questions I can answer for you about anything on this attorney defendant plea rights waiver?
Nope.
All right, if you think of any, you promise to ask me. Okay. Have you had all the time that you need to speak with Mr. DeBro about your case?
Yes, sir. Correct.
Are you satisfied with the job he's done on your behalf?
So far, yes.
All right. Do you need more time? So far, it's not a yes. Do you
Well, so
need more
far-
time to speak with him?
Yeah.
I understand what you're trying to say, but I have to have a firm yes or a firm no, or I can't take the plea. So.
Yes.
Okay. And if you need more time to talk to him, I'm happy to give it to you. I've got other pleas I can take. So, do you need more time to talk to him, or do you want to keep going forward with your plea?
Continue going forward.
All right. Well, then I'm gonna back up, and we're just gonna do this really clear and for the record. Are you satisfied with the job he's done on your behalf?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Walker, do you understand that by entering this plea, you're giving up the right to a jury trial? As in, we're not gonna have a trial, we're gonna close your case and you're gonna get probation.
So that's it.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Is that okay with you?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions for me before I pivot to your attorney?
No, sir.
All right. Mr. Bro, do you stipulate on count 1 that there is a sufficient factual basis for me to accept this reckless driving plea?
I do, Judge.
And do you want to enter a guilty plea to that reckless driving charge, Mr. Walker?
Correct. Yes.
And Mr. Bro, back to the count 2, failure to maintain lane, do you stipulate to the factual basis on that charge?
I do, Judge.
And do you want to enter a guilty plea, Mr. Walker, to that failure to maintain lane?
Yes.
I'm going to find with Mr. Bro's stipulations of fact combined with Mr. Walker's request to enter guilty pleas, there's enough for me to take these pleas. I'm going to find that you are knowingly, intelligently, and voluntarily waiving your rights. I reviewed this recommendation and I will follow it as negotiated. Floor is yours.
Judge, I would just ask for you to accept this recommendation. I've had an opportunity to speak with the solicitor about my client. He currently now resides in the state of Ohio, which is why there is a phone report provision. This is his first issue he's had. We don't foresee him having any more in the future. So we believe that the recommendation is appropriate and ask you to follow.
All right, I do too. Mr. Walker, any questions before I sentence?
No, sir.
You ready?
Yep.
All right, we got Corey Walker, 22 SR 2134. Count 1, reckless driving. We'll find you guilty. It's 12 months probation, $1,232. Fine. Count 5, failure to maintain lane, guilty, 12 months consecutive, $156.50 is your fine. You may work off your entire fine with community service work at a rate of $10 per hour. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you understand that there will be a $50 per month supervision fee?
Yes.
That's a total of 24 months of probation. Counts, looks like 2, 3, 4, and 6 will be dismissed. Show your valid license to probation. No alcohol, illegal drugs, or hemp products should be tested for those. And how your testing will work is you will choose a location where you live, and you'll send that location back to probation for them to review and approve. And then when they call you, which they will randomly do, you will run down to that place that's approved and get your test, and they'll submit it straight to probation. So you understand how the testing is going to work?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So Fourth Amendment waiver and 40 hours of community service work, you can certainly do that back at home at an approved location. Substance abuse evaluation, you may go to phone report after orientation, and once 12 months have passed, all conditions have been met, and no violations have occurred, I'll let you go to non-report probation.
Judge, just a question, just for clarification. I'm not sure how this court handles it, but do the supervision fees end at the end of the first 12 months as well? If not, automatically we will request that to happen.
Yes, it's automatic. So if you're on non-report probation, there's no supervision fees. And yes, different courts do it differently. Our goal is for folks to feel like I'm not here unless there's something new that pops up, like a new arrest. That's the only way they'll ever know that I'm here is if there's a new arrest, and they don't have to respond. So,
Sounds good.
okay, that's a good question. Anything else?
That's all I have, Judge.
All right, Mr. Walker, you have 30 days from today. If you wish to appeal this decision, you have 6 months since you're both driving offenses if you wish to use your habeas rights. Remember you talking about habeas earlier?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Remember reading about it with your attorney on the right sheet right there where I'm pointing?
Yes. Gotcha.
Okay, perfect. All right, Mr. Phillips is gonna walk you out those double doors. I think that's your last case, Mr. Bro.
It is, Judge.
Great to see you.
Good luck if you have any questions, call me, John. Go ahead, that's just an all process course.
Is this a standalone?
Yes, Judge.
All right, Kathy Sherrill is an all plus.
I just released him, Judge.
That's great. All right, it's signed.
The reason why he's in the drug court and got the camera, the contact with him, so he's doing well up there.
Great.
So he's,
Just a quick announcement on Mr. Cadet's case. We can leave it on the trial calendar, but the prosecutor and I are in negotiations. It may fall off. We may be able to enter a plea.
Okay.
But we'll let you know if that happens.
All right, did you get, any charges is it for?
I believe it's 3 charges, DUI, it's a lane change violation or something to that effect.
Yeah.
On the shirts.
Cause I'm gonna give you the right sheet I'm sorry, the verdict form to fill out.
Call McCormick.
Since it will be technically still on the county.
Yes,
So give me just a second. There's 4 charges. Printer's warming up. As soon as this prints, just fill it out, you can sign it. And then, leave it on the solicitor's table, and as soon as y'all sign that,
thank you very much.
that way if it falls through, I've got it all lined up for trial. So, that's on the cadet case. Right here. She's the one that came in. All right, Mr. McDaniel, if you will please raise your right hand for me. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, take your hand down and state your full name for me.
Richard Zane McDaniel.
All right. Mr. McDaniel, you were here on 21 SR 1984, and according to my calendar, you were on time for court. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Did you hear the rights I read out to the courtroom and see the PowerPoint that I put up on the wall?
I did.
Did you understand those rights?
Yes, sir.
Any questions I can answer for you about those rights?
Got it.
All right, let's go off record because we don't want to slow Ms. Middleton down. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I noticed that as soon as I got it.
Yeah, I was like, I need to read that. Thank you, sorry to interrupt.
Well, and hey, I think there's a motion to withdraw floating around. Maybe virtual Brown's office. Brent had it in his hand, so I may be mixing two cases. There's a McMurray. They have a motion to withdraw. Yeah, and that's what I don't think it is, but I'm just being very careful in saying, there's a McMurray that they're trying to withdraw from. I want to make certain, since they both hit at the same time,
Yes,
they aren't
okay,
overlapping.
okay, I'll go check.
Just being careful.
Sorry to interrupt.
No problem. All right, we've learned if we slow Miss Middleton down, the whole system stops. So, all right, let's go back on record. Mr. McDaniel, your attorney has passed up to me this attorney and defendant plea rights waiver. Do you recognize this document that I'm holding up?
Yes, sir, I do.
Do you recognize it as the written version of those rights I read out earlier?
Correct.
Are those your initials next to each of the lines on page 1?
They are.
Page 2?
Yes, sir.
Is this your signature?
It is.
Did you sign an initial of this document after having all the time that you needed to review it
Yes.
and having a chance to ask your attorney any questions you have about it,
Yes, sir.
and because you understood everything that's on it?
Yes, sir.
Mr. McDaniel, are there any questions I can answer for you about anything on this document?
No, sir.
Have you had a chance to ask your attorney all the questions you have about your case?
I have.
Are you satisfied with the job Mr. Abbott done on your behalf?
He's done a great job.
All right. Do you understand that you have the right to a jury trial,
Yes, sir.
and that by entering this plea, there will be no trial, this case will be closed? Is that what you want to do?
Yes, sir.
All right. Any other questions for me about anything before I pivot to your attorney with my next set of questions?
No, sir.
Mr. Abbott, do you stipulate that there is a sufficient factual basis for me to accept this reckless driving plea?
I do, Your Honor.
All right. And Mr. McDaniel, is that what you want to enter your guilty plea to?
I do.
All right. I find with Mr. Abbott's stipulation combined with Mr. McDaniel's request to enter the guilty plea that there's enough for me to take the plea. I'm going to find that he's knowingly, intelligently, and voluntarily waiving his rights and entering this plea. I review the recommendation. I'm going to follow it. Anything you understand, Mr. Abbott?
Judge, I would just point out he has no previous DUIs. He did take the blood test in this case and it came back .048. I think that the officer was probably confused because of the age of the accused and the way that made the accused act after being pulled over.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, I was just curious. All right, anything else?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. McDaniel, any questions about anything we've covered before I sentence?
No, sir.
All right, here we go. Richard McDaniel, 21 SR 1984, count 1, reckless driving, guilty, 12 months, $1,220.25 is your fine. You may work off your fine with community service work, and there will be a $50 per month supervision fee. Counts 2 and 3 are dismissed. You are to show your valid driver's license to probation. No alcohol, illegal drugs, or hemp products should be tested for those. Fourth Amendment waiver for search and seizure. DUI school within 60 days. And that's the sentence of the court. You have 30 days from today if you wish to appeal this decision. You have 6 months from today if you wish to use your habeas rights. Do you remember me talking about habeas earlier?
Yes, sir.
You were reading about it right there where I'm pointing on the back of your right sheet.
I have.
All right. Anything else for me, sir, before you and I part ways?
Yes, sir. I'd like to thank you for signing the release. I was being held. There's some confusion between both. I have heart valve implant and pacemaker, and I appreciate you doing that on Friday afternoon.
You're very welcome.
That
Those are the tough calls I get to make.
And one thing to point out to the court, he did post a cash bond, and we would ask that that be applied towards the fine.
So that is on my list of projects to complete. It is not currently set up that way. So the way it'll work is they'll refund it back to him and he can move it over. I've got the form to do it, but I've never been able to quite get the mechanisms lined up. I'm confident I can finally get that this year. So unfortunately, I can't apply the cash bond.
And when I am told to pay probation for clients, that's very difficult. So I would think that what the court is dealing with probably would be a struggle.
Yes. So the money will go back to you or whoever posted your bond.
Yes.
And then if you want to use it at that point to go ahead and close out your probation, certainly. Or
Right.
not close it out, but I'm sorry, close out that piece of your probation. So, okay.
Thank you very much, sir. I'd never been in this position before, and those 3 days, two in Spalding and two in Butts and one in Spalding, were difficult, no meds, and I appreciate your understanding that. It was difficult for my wife to reach through to everyone.
Yeah, it's not convenient on purpose to some degree, but at the same time, we want to make certain that folks that need medical care get it as they need it. So,
Understood.
all right, thank you, Mr. McDaniel. Anything else, Mr. Abbott?
I appreciate the court's time and ask to be excused.
Have a great day. Thank
Have a
you.
great day.
Thank you, Mr. McDaniel. If you'll head that way, out that door. All right, McCormick. Mr. McCormick, I think I got ahead of your attorney. Give me just a minute. I've got him running 90 miles an hour, but you're on the Tompkins file, so when I do bring him in, you'll be up first. So I have an outbox on White's, but I have 3 cases, so I'm going to hold off on that one. Okay. That's all I've got for now. So we're just gonna put everybody, at ease. I'm thinking that the next round of paperwork is gonna walk in any second. So, all right, we're gonna go off record. We're just gonna be at ease. All right, raise your right hand for me. You solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir.
All right, into that microphone, state your full name for me.
Kenneth Michael Robinson.
Mr. Robinson, you are a previous bench warrant and a walk-in. Your conference was last, but we got your case ready now, so I'm gonna go ahead and take a plea. Is that what your understanding is about to happen here?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Robinson, although you missed your previous court date, you were on time for court today. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Did you hear the rights I read out to the courtroom, and did you see the PowerPoint that I put up on the wall?
Yes, sir.
Did you understand those rights?
Yes, sir.
Any questions I can answer for you about those rights?
No, sir.
You passed up to me this self-represented defendant plea rights waiver. Do you recognize this document as the written version of those rights?
Yes, sir.
Are those your initials next to each of the lines on page 1?
Yes, sir.
Page 2?
Yes, sir.
Is that your signature?
It is.
Did you sign and initial this document after having all the time that you needed to review it,
Yes, sir.
and because you understood everything that's on it?
Yes, sir.
Are there any questions I can answer for you about anything on this document?
No, sir.
No, he missed one. He needs to, this is the new line. He needs to initial on this. Okay. Okay. Mr. Robinson, you are asking me to accept a NOLA plea, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Have you used a NOLA plea on any charges in the last couple of years? I'm sorry, in the last 5 years?
Well, I don't think so. He looked it up while we were back there and
Didn't see it. How about this? Do you understand that if you are mistaken and you have used a NOLA on a suspended license in the last 5 years, you and I will not see each other again? DDS will just simply take it in, recognize that it's a conflict, and bring it in as a guilty plea. Do you understand that?
right.
And that they will then suspend your license, and that's on you. Do you understand that?
Right.
In other words, it's your risk to take. Is that acceptable?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well then, I'm gonna go with you on that, and if you're right, then we're good, and if not, you know what's gonna happen, and you're okay with that. All right, then, Mr. Robinson, do you want me to accept your NOLA for driving that occurred here in Spalding County?
You moving or my moving?
Yes, sir.
We're gonna have to next that door shut. Back on in Spalding County, back on June 19th of 2019, and ended with this suspended license charge. Is that what you want me to accept your NOLA on?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm gonna find that your request for a NOLA is proper, and I'm gonna grant it. I'm gonna find that you are knowingly, voluntarily, and freely waiving your rights, and intelligently waiving your rights. I'm gonna find that the plea is proper. Any questions before I sentence?
Can I be on phone report until I get paid?
What, do you live in the area? Do you live outside the area?
Yes, sir. I don't drive yet. I'm still halfway through.
Okay.
I
And,
might pay to appear.
I mean, it's terminated upon completion, so I guess I'm just wondering, like, if you're terminated upon completion, I don't see why I should do phone report as well. See what I'm saying?
I
Like,
don't know. I mean,
you're only on probation until you check your boxes. Does that make sense?
a year ago, I could have paid before 30 days. Right now, I gotta depend on people to want to work with me, being in a position I'm in to make the money, and I'm just still getting used to that.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not as fast as I used to be. I can't run, I can't jump, but I still try to go to work every day, and I don't feel like I should get a check yet, you know.
Okay. I'm gonna check something real quick. Computer's thinking. What's your middle name?
Michael,
What's your birthday?
32483.
Do you have a felony pending upstairs?
I haven't got a court date for it yet. I mean, I went to an arraignment, but I hadn't received a second court date yet.
Okay. Well, I'm looking at it. You got a court date of May 1st of 2023 at 9 a.m.
All right.
That's your motions calendar call. Then you gotta be back on May 4th, and then your trial is May 15th. So May's gonna be a very busy month for you. I don't see why I should give you a phone report while you've got a felony pending. Plus, I'm looking at somewhere in the ballpark of 44 previous cases. So no, I'm not convinced that it's in the court's best interest to give you that. If this was your first case, I frankly was gonna give that to you. But the fact that this is not your first case and the fact that you have a felony pending upstairs, I'm utterly unsympathetic to your situation. All right, any questions? Any questions?
No, sir.
You have 30 days from today if you wish to appeal this decision. You have 6 months from today if you want to use your habeas rights. All right, if you'll head out to the double doors, please.
I'll meet you outside.
You're junior, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm gonna fix that. All right, we're off record until the next case comes in. You are Ms. Shauna Jones?
Yes.
All right, Ms. Jones, your attorney, Mr. Harris, is still stuck in Fayette.
He said he's on the way.
Oh, he's on the way now? Okay, well,
Can I wait?
yeah, I mean, we're about to take Mr. Malloy's pleas, and when Mr. Harris gets here, assuming we have time, we'll go ahead and take that plea. I'm sorry, take your case, get it sorted. So, while we're taking Mr. Malloy's pleas, that'll buy you a few more minutes.
Okay.
Okay, that'd be great. That's Miss Shauna Jones. I don't know if y'all have that file. Oh, Miss Chris is coming on 2 wheels. All right, you are Mr. McCormick.
Yes, sir.
You raise your right hand. You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir.
All right, lean into that mic, pull it up. It's a good mic. It'll move around for you. State your full name.
Cole Gregory McCormick.
All right, Mr. McCormick, you have two cases, 22 SR 435, and then 449 is going to be a all process.
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay, so we're just going to enter this on 435. You were on time for court today, correct?
Yes, sir.
Did you hear the rights I read out to the courtroom and see the PowerPoint I put up on the wall?
Yes, sir.
Did you understand it?
Yes, sir.
Any questions I can answer for you about any of those rights?
No, sir.
Your attorney's passed up to me this attorney and defendant plea rights waiver. Do you recognize this document that I'm holding up?
Yes, sir.
Do you recognize it as the written version of those rights?
Yes, sir.
Are those your initial, did you have enough time to read it?
Yes, sir.
And did you have a chance to ask your attorney any questions you have about it?
Yes, sir.
And did you understand everything that's on it?
Yes, sir.
Are these your initials next to each of the lines on page 1?
Yes, sir.
Page 2?
Yes, sir.
Is this your signature?
It is.
Did you, any other questions for me about this before I pivot to the next set of questions?
No, sir.
Have you had all the time that you need to speak with your attorney about your case?
Yes, sir.
Are you satisfied with the job Mr. Malloy has done on your behalf?
Yes, sir.
You understand that you have the right to a jury trial,
Yes, sir.
and that by entering this plea, there will be no trial, and this case will be closed. Is that what you want to do?
Yes, sir.
All right. Mr. Malloy, do you stipulate that there is a sufficient factual basis for me to accept this duty upon striking a fixed object plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. McCormick, do you want to enter a guilty plea to that charge?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm going to find with Mr. Malloy's stipulations the factual basis combined with Mr. McCormick's request to enter a guilty plea, then on 22 SR 435, there's enough for me to take his plea. I'm going to find that he is knowingly, voluntarily, and intelligently entering his plea. I've reviewed the recommendation. I'm going to follow it as is. Any questions? Anything you want to put on the record, Mr. Malloy?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, Mr. McCormick, any questions about anything?
No, sir.
You ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, Cole McCormick, 22 SR 435, count 1, duty upon striking a fixed object. I'm going to find you guilty. It's 12 months probation, $419.50 is your fine. You may work off your fine with community service work at a rate of $10 per hour. Do you remember me saying that earlier?
Yes, sir.
And that there'll be a $50 per month supervision fee.
Yes, sir.
Show your valid license to probation, no alcohol, illegal drugs, or hemp products, and a Fourth Amendment waiver for search and seizure. This case will terminate the moment you have satisfied your obligations to court.
Meaning my fine, right?
Fine and a driver's license.
Okay, yeah. No problem.
So, and if for some reason probation decides to drug test you, they have that option, although whether or not they execute that option is up to you.
Yes, sir.
So, okay, that's it. You have 30 days from today if you want to appeal this decision. You have 6 months from today if you want to use those habeas rights.
Appreciate it.
Anything else?
That's it.
All right, we'll step back through this double doors. White.
Appreciate it, bro.
Thank you. All right. What's best for you, Mr. Malloy? You want me to go and do the white?
We can go ahead and do the White's plea, Judge. It's gonna take me a few minutes to go through the next.
That'd be great. Okay, you are Orlando White.
Yes, sir.
All right, please raise your right hand for me. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
All right, take your hand down, state your full name for me.
Orlando Chase White.
Mr. White, you are here on several cases. And looks like we're gonna end up plea to a couple and dismiss a couple, or dismiss one. There we are, 22 SR 754 and 22 TK 5120 are pleas. And then I'm gonna end up doing a null cross on 22 SR 083. Is that correct?
Correct, Your Honor. 0803, yes.
0803, got it. Okay, Ms. White, you were on time for court today, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Did you hear the rights I read out to the courtroom and see the PowerPoint that I put up on the wall?
Yes, sir.
Did you understand those rights?
Yes, sir.
Any questions I can answer for you about those rights?
No, sir.
Your attorney has passed up to me this attorney and defendant plea rights waiver. Do you recognize this document that I'm holding up?
Yes, sir.
Do you recognize it as the written version of those rights I read out earlier?
Yes, sir.
Are there any questions I can answer for you about anything on this document?
No, sir.
Did you, are these your initials here next to each of the lines on page 1
Yes, sir. It is.
and page 2?
Yes, sir.
Is this your signature?
Yes, sir.
Did you sign and initial this document after having all the time that you needed to review it?
Yes, sir.
And after having a chance to ask your attorney any questions you have about it?
Yes, yes, sir.
And because you understood everything that's on it?
Yes, sir.
Are there any questions? Have you had a chance to ask your attorney any questions that you have about all of your cases?
Yes, sir.
Are you satisfied with the job he's done on your behalf?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand that you have the right to a jury trial on your cases?
Yes.
And that by entering this plea, there will be no trials, these cases will be closed? Is that what you want to do?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. White, do you have any other questions for me before I pivot to your attorney?
No, sir, I don't.
All right. Oh, I need to talk about family violence. You're entering a family violence plea. Do you understand that as a result of this plea, you will lose your rights to a firearm
Yes, sir.
and ammunition possession for the rest of your days?
Yes, sir.
Is that acceptable to you?
Yes, sir.
No, Mr. White is a convicted felon, so he already knows.
Great. Okay, so
That's why you don't have the second form.
that sounds great. Okay. All right, then we're good to go. All right, so Mr. Malloy, do you stipulate there's a sufficient factual basis for me to take on 22 SR 754 this battery family violence plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you want to enter a guilty plea to this battery family violence plea, Mr. White?
Yes, sir.
And then as to the no insurance on 22 TK 5120, Mr. Malloy?
Yes, Your Honor.
And then do you want to enter a no low plea to that charge?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm going to find with Mr. Malloy's stipulations on both cases and Mr. Weiss's request to enter a guilty plea in 22 SR 754 and the NOLO in 22 TK 5120, that there's enough for me to take these pleas. I'm going to find that Mr. Weiss is knowingly, voluntarily, and intelligently waiving his rights at entering these pleas. I reviewed the recommendation. I'm going to follow them. Anything you want to add, Mr. Malloy?
No, Your Honor.
Any questions?
Yes, sir.
You ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. Orlando Weitz, 22 SR 0754, count 1, battery, family violence, guilty, 12 months, 735 is your fine. You may work that off with community service work, and there will be a $50 per month supervision fee. Counts 2 and 3 will be dismissed. Show your valid license to probation, no alcohol, illegal drugs, or hemp products, and the Fourth Amendment waiver. You are to complete anger management. No contact whatsoever with Sharita Rooks, and no violent contact with Camille Weitz. That's the sentence of the court on 22 SR 754. All right, and then moving on to 22 TK 5120. There's actually two no process. Okay. Moving on to 22 TK 5120, no insurance. The NOLO is granted. That's 12 months probation. 445 is your fine. Count 2 is dismissed. This case is consecutive to the previous case, giving you, which is 22 SR 754, giving you a total of 24 months of probation. Same no contact provisions. However, this case may go to non-report probation, assuming no violations and all conditions being met. You have 30 days from today if you wish to appeal this decision. You have 12 months on your habeas rights for the not driving offense and 6 months on the driving offense if you want to use those habeas rights. All right, so that closes out your two cases we pled to. The two other cases are 22 SR 0803, which is an Alpros. I'm signing that one right now. And then 22 SR 440.
I don't think that's his. Is that his?
He had 3 total, didn't
I thought it was 3.
That was 3 as well.
Who's the process?
You got 2 and 3, you got 2 on this one.
Should have been 2 pleas and an all.
Yeah. I just have it. Did I sign somebody? Is this somebody else's? Oh, let's see this one. Let me just type that case number and see what comes up.
You putting out something that, whatever you do. You need to go fine. Oh, yeah, you're fine. You're good.
Oh, that's what it is. That's McCormick's other case, but it says White. So I'm just gonna fix it. White, McCormick had 2 cases. I pled him to 1. White, you're good to go. So you can head on that. This is McCormick. Y'all get, because y'all said McCormick's, you're sending me a null cross.
Yes,
You sent it, and it actually says White at the top.
We've already done McCormick?
Yes.
Yes.
Where's his file?
He's out meeting with probation. I didn't sign it because it wasn't, I didn't sign an all price. I said there was an all price coming. So Erica doesn't have one.
I thought we were already done.
Let's go for it.
We tried this with the state. My client had some injuries at the time of the incident and has no recollection of the event. We're hoping to view the videos and come to a conclusion as to whether she'll want to proceed with trial or accept the plea as negotiated by this coming Friday. I'll inform the state as to what our procedural posture is at that point and be able to further update the court either as designated the 27th for a date for trial or for plea.
How many charges are there?
33 total charges.
Okay, I'm gonna print this then. Come on.
Yeah, let's wait, put it on. Let's put it in the file.
Yeah, I'm just gonna sign it. Come on up and figure this one. Gotta figure out how to make this more publicly available. It's just a very form. I've got one for each. When it's a bench trial, I just write all over. Jury. The form I have is per number of charges and per whatever attorney. If I was to give out enough to have everybody, it would be all the forms, because each form has 8 persons giving up 8 charges. But that sounds fine. And we're on the bench. I'm on the bench Monday through Thursday of next week. So including Tuesday.
Looks like it maybe walk in early because she wants to do all kinds of the state or California.
I just let them know. So I give them a wise latitude because they were already communicating with y'all about the cases, and so we'll just say. Okay, well, if you'll just fill that out. We can give Mr. Shepherd. And you good guys.
Thank you, Judge.
Is that just the right there?
Please, you
Yeah, okay. Just a little entry in the calendar.
Back to order. All right, so you are Melissa McGee.
Yes, sir.
All right, Ms. McGee, raise your right hand. You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir.
All right, take your hand down and say your full name for me.
Melissa Diane McGee.
Ms. McGee, you were late to court today, so I'm going to jump straight forward to this document I'm holding up. This is the attorney and defendant plea rights waiver. Do you recognize this document?
Yes.
Are those your initials next to each of the lines on page 1?
Yes, sir.
Page 2?
Yes.
Is this your signature?
Yes, sir.
Did you sign and initial this document after having all the time you needed to review it
Yes.
and to ask your attorney any questions you have about it,
Yes.
and because you understood everything that's on it?
Yes.
Ms. McGee, do you understand that you have the right to a jury trial,
Yes.
and that by entering this plea there will be no trial and this case will be closed? Is that what you want to do?
Right. Yes.
All right. And are you satisfied with the job your attorney's done on your behalf?
Yes.
All right. Yeah, that'll work. All right. Any other questions, Ms. McGee, before I pivot to your attorney?
No.
Okay. Mr. Malloy, on 22 SR 2221, do you stipulate there's a sufficient factual basis for me to accept this obstruction plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. McGee, you want to enter a guilty plea to this obstruction charge in 22 SR 2221?
Yes.
I'm going to find, with Mr. Malloy's stipulations, the factual basis combined with Ms. McGee's request to enter a plea, that there's enough for me to take the plea. I'm going to find that she is knowingly, voluntarily, and intelligently, both waiving her rights and affirmatively entering the plea. I review the recommendation. I'm going to follow it exactly the way Mr. Malloy's negotiated it. Mr. Malloy, anything you wish to add?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. McGee, any questions about anything so far?
No.
All right, here we go. Ms. McGee, as to 22 SR 2221, count 1, obstruction. We'll find you guilty. It's 12 months probation. $590 is your fine. You may work off your fine with community service work at a rate of $10 per hour, and there will be a $50 per month supervision fee. Show your valid license to probation. No alcohol, illegal drugs, or hemp products. You'll be tested for those. Fourth Amendment waiver. You are to pay $50 in restitution to Spalding County to offset the cost of your attorney. No contact whatsoever with Edward Minch, and that's the sentence of the court. You have 30 days from today if you wish to appeal this decision. You have 12 months from today if you wish to use your habeas rights. Do you remember reading about habeas on your right sheet?
Yes.
And right here where I'm pointing?
Yes.
All right. Ms. McGee, do you have any questions for me before we close out this plea?
No.
All right, then that closes out that plea. The other case, 22 SR 2222, is a null cross. And I've signed that one. That will go down to Ms. All right, Ms. McGee, that closes it out. I'm lifting your warrant. Your cases are closed. Anything before we part ways?
No, that takes me off your calendar, and I am.
We're
I
good.
should not see you, God willing, for.
That's right. I want to see you around town. I want you to tell me that you're doing great. That's
Yes,
what I
sir.
want to have next, okay?
Yes, sir. Yes,
All
sir.
right. Very good to see you, and I'm glad we got everything closed, and you
Come
can
and
go
go
this
this
way. Or you come this way. He's waving you forward. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
You're the last one, so good job. All right, somebody else up there, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then, anybody else need to put anything on the record? I've got one thing I've got to put on. On Brent Hutchison's case, Pemberton, bottom of page 6, they're asking for a reset. I simply said, basically, you all were worried that he was driving. And so I said, well, here's the deal. I gave Brent, we don't use the form too much, the DDS 270. That's the court requested evaluation. It's actually just individual requested. We just use it as the court system. And so I had Mr. Hutchison fill it out. He's going to give it to me when he comes back. I signed the reset notice, and then we will submit that to DDS. They'll suspend his license and make him get retested before he can potentially get it. That's the best I could come up with. If you all have a better suggestion.
Yeah, that's exactly what, when Brent was asking about it, you were gonna grant the continuance because it was their first request for one, but I had mental health issues were too serious for him to be able to come to the courtroom, and he certainly didn't need to be behind the wheel.
Yes.
So that's right where we were.
Okay, well, if y'all come up with a Eureka better plan, I'm gonna live, but I'll submit that. I'll sign that as soon as it comes back tomorrow, Wednesday, and I'll get that done. Do you, anybody else need anything else record for adjourn? All right, then I'm gonna say, it's 12:13, issue the warrants, forfeit the cash bonds, Court is adjourned until tomorrow morning at 9 a.m.
Like I said.